now it's time. Our first speaker, and quite frankly, the person that you're actually here to see, I'd like to invite to the stage Rich Armstrong. Rich is the co-founder of TapTapKaboom. If you are getting ready for a session that is full of quantum computing, blockchains, NFTs, all the cool stuff, here you go, enjoy.
Thank you so much, Gabby. I have headphones on and so do all of you guys. If I'm going to be shouting and screaming, there is a volume button on your, like I see some of you doing, there is a volume button on your headphones. So, guys, I'm excited. So I woke up this morning. I'm sure pretty much all of you did too, but I did this thanks to my iPhone. This little thing woke me up at exactly 6 a.m. on the dot. Just like my wife's phone was doing on her side of the bed with gentle chimes. It was beautiful. And then we hit the snooze button, and 9 minutes later, we hit the snooze button again. And so we get up at exactly, or aroundish, 6:18. And why do we do this? Because we know that we have enough time to check Twitter, which is now called X, thanks to Elon Musk. We can check the weather, and we can go downstairs to do some exercise. Whoa, yeah. Now, just in this short time frame, the amount of magical moments, just listen to this. So, do you know how hard it was a few decades back to synchronize clocks? Guys, this has been crazy. Or to simply keep a clock at the correct time. My oven clock and my kitchen clock don't keep the correct time. It's crazy. And then to have an alarm clock. Do you ever remember a time without an alarm clock? Nope, because it was invented a long time ago. And the snooze button, can you imagine the stress the snooze button took off your waking moments? You wouldn't have to worry about falling asleep once you hit the alarm button. Man, this is just magical. So, I'm going downstairs, I'm checking Twitter, I'm replying to stuff. But guys, just think about this. Like, if there was no Twitter back in the day, I would be responding to letters by hand. I would then have to go post it in a post box with a little stamp on it. Or even before that, I'd probably have to send a raven off to somebody else. But I'm walking downstairs, replying to people, checking the weather. Do you know how much data is required to give you an accurate-ish forecast for the day? Lots. A lot. And then, oh yeah, it's sunny and the crypto prices are up. Fantastic. This is all just while I'm walking downstairs, you know? Anyway, we're downstairs now. We turn on the Apple TV so we can AirPlay a 20-minute exercise regime from my iPhone app to our Apple TV. Our trainer on the TV booms a warm and energetic hello, much like Gabby did, like hello! But now it's like 6:18 in the morning. On my days, it's way too loud, so we just turn it to a whisper. And we're doing all of this because my daughter is still sleeping as well. Man, it's crazy. So, imagine traveling from the year 2000, time traveling, not just normal travel, time traveling, and then seeing this happen. I mean, a flat screen TV was a pretty big deal back then. I don't know if you remember, but then to see someone pretty much take this little TV and then share this TV to that TV, all with something called AirPlay with an app. Like, can you imagine that? It would just be like mind-boggling. Man. So maybe this doesn't amaze you like it amazes me. So let's play a what-if game and fast forward into the future. I don't know if you like doing this, but it's quite fun. So, what if my trainer wasn't a recording? What happens if it was somebody in an augmented reality lens in my eye? Wouldn't that be cool? And what happens if I can speak to my trainer, my wife can speak to my trainer, we can choose whether it's a male or a female or maybe an alien, I don't know. But every single other person at any time of the day can also access our trainer and ask for a specific individualized regime for their workout, their diet, whatever the case may be. Crazy, right? Or what if I didn't need to do any exercise at all? What happens if I could edit my genes so I wouldn't need to exercise? I could have a super fast metabolism. I could have super big muscles, whatever I wanted. Or what happens if there are nanobots swimming in my body, zapping all the bad stuff? or simulating a workout as I'm taking a shower. I wouldn't need to work out at all, right? Maybe that seems magical to you. I don't know. So can you imagine someone from the 17th century, it's quite a while ago, time traveling to today and setting foot inside an average modern Western home? Would they consider us to be magicians? Would they consider our era to be infused with magic? Would they be scared? Would they want to burn us all for witchcraft? Like, you guys are crazy. You have magic everywhere. Or would they be awestruck? Would they embrace it? Or would they try to go back to the way things were in the 17th century? So what do you think they'd find most magical? Imagine. Would it be Spotify? Would it be CDs, tapes? Would it be an Uber driver? Would it be a car, an airplane? What about concrete and these massive buildings that we've been building in the sky? What about hot water raining on you as you turn this tap, this faucet kind of thing? They wouldn't appreciate iPhones and TVs and that kind of stuff, I don't think. But if they did, would they be watching Friends or Game of Thrones? Would they be sipping Coca-Cola or draft beer? I mean, can you imagine them going, draft beer versus the beer that we have? It would just be crazy different, right? And Coca-Cola, sugary water, would be giving them so much energy. Wow. So what's crazy is that we've seen more change in the past 10 years than humanity did between 2000 BC and 1000 BC. You can't really quote me on this. I'm not like super in-depth knowledgeable about this, but 1,000-year difference, they would have been like, yeah, we're still farming, still living in the same kind of houses. Nothing much has changed. Maybe I have some like different kind of clothing on. That's about it. But guys, in 10 years, just think about all the things that have happened in 10 years. People from 2015 may look at what AI is capable of now, cover their mouths in awe. And maybe that's you. Maybe when no one's looking, you curl up in a ball. You close your eyes, you put your hands on your ears, just thinking about quantum computers and AI and NFTs and blockchain and the next iPhone release. The other day, I'm walking to my studio, which, there's no magic in that. And I have little headphones on, a little bit different to what I'm wearing right now. It's kind of weird putting these on and talking. I feel like a reporter. How are you doing? But anyway, I'm walking to my studio. I have my AirPods in, my Apple AirPods in, and I'm having a conversation, a near instant conversation with my parents. And where are they? 9,000 kilometers away in Cape Town, riding up a mountain pass. Kind of strange, right? So, what's going on here is somehow my little earphones are recording my voice, sending it to my phone with Bluetooth. Then my phone is wirelessly sending the voice recordings 9,000 kilometers away to my parents in a car driving up a mountain. Simultaneously, while receiving the exact same stuff from my parents, recordings are being sent from South Africa all the way to Amsterdam in the Netherlands to my particular phone, and it's going to my ears. If an aeroplane had to travel the speed of sound, which is over 1,000 kilometers per hour from here to Cape Town in South Africa, it would take 7 hours. My phone, I think it's traveling at the speed of light, which is 0.03 seconds from here to South Africa. That's 30 milliseconds. I do not know how you can't or wouldn't consider this phone call to be pure magic. At what point would you really think something was magical? Would it have to be someone chanting Wingardium Leviosa with a wand? This is pretty similar to a wand, right? Sure, it's not making a car float in the air just yet, but it's doing some pretty interesting stuff. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, says Arthur C. Clarke. I don't know who this guy is, but he has a very interesting point. You may not think it, but guys, ladies, gentlemen, we are living in an era of magic, and more magic is coming. I mean, just look at what's happening now. How in the world are we all listening to the same thing with headphones on our ears? I have no idea. It's magical. It's amazing. And sure, we had a bit of a rough start. That's technology, but it's amazing. But why do we need more magic? Why can't things stay the same? Firstly, we don't need more magic. We want more magic. We want novelty. We want new. Why? Because we're human. We use tools, we make tools, and we keep making tools because we're creative and curious and innovative and competitive. Who we are is us plus whatever tools we can create. We like playing and experimenting, and we've come to like winning. And how we do this all is by taking what we've got and combining it with other things to make something new, to make something different. Sometimes we make something magical. But we're not just making whatever. We're always making magic in context. New technology doesn't exist in a vacuum. We're standing on the shoulders of giants. We're leaning on thousands of years of creativity, innovation. We're leaning on thousands of years of history and culture that came before us. And the more you understand the tools you're working with, how they're built, and what they're built on top of, the better you can create something new and different, and maybe something magical. The same goes with understanding people. The more you understand culture and history and people and behavior, psychology, the more, maybe the more chance you have of creating something that delights and excites people. And if you know both of them, or if you have a team that have both of them, even better. So there's this guy, Thomas Thwaites. Maybe you know him. I call him Thomas Toaster Thwaites. He tried to make a toaster from scratch, all by himself. And for reference, he took apart an existing toaster. You can Google this guy. And you know what he found? 400 parts in a toaster, the thing that you put bread in and it makes it crispy, warm, and crunchy. 400 parts. Don't you think that's amazing? So what this guy showed us is that all magic technology is made up of other pieces of magic technology. And things like TVs and microwaves and VR headsets are most certainly more than the sum of their parts. We keep on building on top of existing magic. Every single thing that we have right here is made up of little bits and pieces. And they make things amazing. And what happens in the magic making process is that we shape what we make, and what we shape makes us. Everything and everyone is shaping everyone and everything. It's an ongoing act of creation, and it's getting faster and faster. That's why new apps don't work on your old iPad. It's frustrating, and that's why you do need to update your operating system. Things keep changing. That's why some of us don't use Facebook or MySpace. That's why we don't use CDs or DVDs. That's why we don't use fax machines or telex machines. And if you're like, what are these things? You can Google what they are, or you can ask ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is amazing. Like, it won't just tell you, like, this is what it is. It'll tell you a whole bunch of stuff. Who invented it? Maybe you could ask, well, who invented the stuff before that? What is it built on? It'll tell you all of that kind of stuff. So, we're using something more magical now. If you've stopped using Facebook because you're using WhatsApp, if you're using something like Telegram or, I don't know, something else that I haven't heard of, the kids these days, they're just using all kinds of weird stuff. And this is why artificial intelligence is here. That's why it's making news. It's new magic, and it keeps on getting better. That's why NFTs and blockchain and DeFi, cryptocurrency are here, because it's new magic. People are continuously making all kinds of new magic with it and on top of it. All this is progress. It's moving us forward. It's us being human. But guys, honestly, we're used to all this magic. I doubt any of you were amazed by your alarm clock's gentle chimes waking you up this morning. Or I doubt you were amazed by your toaster that magically made your bread into toast and it popped it up when it was ready. Just imagine seeing that as like somebody from the 17th century. I doubt any of you were amazed by how you got here this morning. Bicycles, trains, cars, boats. I'm not amazed by the things that I use. I use an iPad, I use Procreate, I use an Apple Pencil to create stuff on a screen that's made out of glass and metal and silicon, maybe some other stuff I don't know about. I have a printer that can replicate what I've done in the real world on a piece of paper. I have these markers that I press against canvas and paint comes out. Somehow, it's magical. But we don't need to appreciate it. We don't need to find it magical. We don't need to notice it. We are allowed to be used to it. And we can even get used to the new Instagram layouts and features, the new algorithms. We can get used to a new app like TikTok. Sure, it might take us like 5 years, and by that time, everybody else has moved on to something else. But we can get used to it. We can maybe even get used to a new technology like AI. We can get used to the new, unless it begins to threaten us. What if a new technology, especially in somebody else's hands, means I would be out of a job next month? Or that I'd have to fire half my staff to compete with my competitor? What if my opponent's team has such super magical technology that it means that no matter how fast I drive my Formula One racing car, I cannot win the Formula One championship? That would be unfair, wouldn't it? Someone maybe even call somebody else a cheat. This happens all the time and has been happening for a long time. In all industries, disruption happens. Competition is fierce. This is often how wars are won, because someone has superior technology. Someone uses the magic first, and it's unfair. But that shouldn't stop us, and it hasn't stopped us in the past. We keep on creating. Imagine being a digital artist who spends 10 to 40 hours, maybe longer, on each digital painting that they create. You've just honed a whole bunch of craft. You've gained knowledge and skills. You've learned a lot of new things. You're pretty good at what you do. People like you. People are paying you for your art. And then this thing called AI comes out, mid-journey. A couple of other things come out. And you have a look. There's a bit of fuss about it, and people are saying things. So you check it out. And what you see is average. It clearly looks like a computer has done this. It's not human at all. So you ignore it. A few months go by, maybe a year, and then you see an image, and you're like, is this AI? Or did a human do this? I'm not quite sure. And then people start sharing what they've created by themselves using AI, what prompts they've used, and they just click a button. People start going wild. They're like, wow, this is amazing. That looks like your art. And the artist is like, yeah, it does. And what happens if people then start to sell that art, and his collectors or her collectors begin buying that new art at reduced prices? What happens if his sales dry up because of this new AI art? How would that feel? Can you imagine? Maybe you've witnessed this firsthand. Maybe you are an artist. Maybe you have a friend or a family member who's an artist. Maybe you feel the winds of change stirring in your industry or in that of your clients and customers. But this was not the first disruption for an artist. The iPad and Procreate disrupted things for artists using Photoshop and Wacom tablets. And Photoshop and Wacom tablets disrupted things for artists using paint and canvas and easels. Can you imagine that day? You didn't have to use paint and get messy. The internet certainly disrupted things for artists, as did the camera and the digital camera. Some artists became photographers. Some artists started to use photography in their process. Things are always changing. New magic always disrupts something or someone. It makes things unfair. And sometimes it causes scandal. It makes the headlines. So how do we face a future that threatens us personally, or threatens our clients or customers or staff? Well, we need to understand the magic, because we fear things that we don't understand, and we fear people that use things that we don't understand. We condemn them, we ostracize them, sometimes we even burn them at the stake. Luckily, not too much of that at the moment, but sometimes the media does this. They literally sorry, not literally, figuratively sacrifice people on the media, what is it called? Whatever it's called. My brain just blanked out that word. But this is understandable. It's a survival mechanism. And once you understand the magic, everything changes. Alter. There we go. It's alter. You can use it. You can use this magic. You can ignore it. You can choose to ignore it. You can use a different magic. You can create your own magic on top of it. Or you can make your own magic. It's no longer something unknown. It's no longer something that you need to fear. And the way that I learn new things, and I learn new things all the time, I love learning, is by creating small projects around topics I'm fascinated by. Because that's how I learn best. But maybe you learn best some other way. Maybe you come to conferences like this and you're just like, oh my days, there's so much to learn, I'm writing forever. Maybe you talk to people. I don't know. When we feel threatened though, what we often fail to realize is that we can transfer a lot of experience and expertise and knowledge and skills into this new medium, into this new technology. For example, a painter or a designer or a photographer is a lot better, they're usually a lot better at AI or creating AI images than someone who's just started, because they have a whole bunch of context and history. They know things about color and about composition, about the history of art. They can transfer those skills. And they make more interesting projects. So I know it's hard to learn something new. It's hard to suck at something when you're really good at something else. But keep on learning. Keep on being curious and make time for exploration and play, which I believe to be essential ingredients for being human today. So I started this without introducing myself. It's probably a good time to do that. My name is Rich Armstrong. Some people know me as TapTapKaboom. Some people know me as TapTap, and other people just know me as Tap. Kind of weird. I'm an artist, I'm an author, I'm a designer, and I teach people how to create. Often with code, but most of the time I teach them how to create images and animations with an iPad and a computer. I love technology, I love the future, but I also enjoy learning about analog ways of creating. I love getting messy. That's what my booth is about. I'm going to be doodling and drawing with paint all over white walls. So I hope I've opened your eyes to the magic world we live in. I hope you're a little less scared, a little less fearful, and a little bit more curious about all this new magic coming out, and perhaps about the old magic. If you have time to tell me about the magic in your life, or if you want to chat about art and NFTs and blockchain and technology in the future, or you just want to know why I'm called TapTapKaboom, please come say hi after this talk, after this chat, or come to my booth 34 anytime during the week. Thank you.